back to another HW-Aquascaping video. Today we're back with the Blagdon Affinity pond, and today we're going to be doing the planting for this scape. But before we get to that, I kind of just want to go back onto what I was saying in the hardscape video about the themes of this setup being ecological and budget friendly to anyone wanting to recreate it. A Blagdon Affinity pond is a rather expensive piece of kit were you to buy it brand new. You're looking about sort of £250 to £300 to purchase one of these brand new. Obviously, I didn't do that. It is a second-hand one, so I didn't pay anything really near to close to what it's meant to be at a full retail price. But this scape could be achieved in anything that holds water. It could be a large tub. You could use a bath if you really wanted to. If you've got like an old bath that you're throwing out and you wanted to make a pond in it, a half barrel, a large plant pot, anything that can sort of hold water. It doesn't have to be one of these. But enough about that. Let's get onto the planting, shall we? So here are the lovely plants that I've acquired to do the pond build with. As you can see, I've got quite a lot to choose from to pack it out with, and hopefully, I'm hoping that this will stage away from the water going pea soup green. Obviously, in a lot of ponds, they tend to have UV filtration systems to stop this from happening, but I'm hoping the excessive plants in there will do the job from sapping away the nutrients so that algae won't be able to form. If it's starting to go that way, I'll just do a big water change and I'll add a lot more plants to the build until I get the balance right. But what I'll do is I'll read the list of names of the plants off so you know which plants are which, and I'll do that from left to right. So starting from the left, we've got some Carex muscingumensis, some Acorus calamus, some Buttimus umbellatus, we've got some Schizostylus cocchini major, we've got some Nymphoides peltata, some Bacopa caroliniana, some Hydrocotyle vulgaris, and then we've got in the little pot in there, we've got some what is trapper, which is basically water chestnuts. So they're a really interesting plant. They're like a floating plant, and as it sort of gets down to autumn time, they'll sort of drop a nut down to the bottom and grow up to the surface again. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically washing away all the excess soil I couldn't get off when I used it to pack out the bottom of the pond. I'm doing this basically just because I don't want this excess nutrients to get into the water column, so I'm rinsing off as much as possible in order to prevent this from happening, as well as it helps to sort of break the plants up and make them a lot easier to plant essentially. But as you can see, it's quite messy work, but what I'm doing from left to right, so the Carex and the Schizostylus, they want to be planted at no deeper than 15 centimetres. So that's why I planted them at the left-hand side, which is a bit higher up. And the Acorus and the Buttimus, that can go at a depth of 40 centimetres. So they're going to be really good in the sort of the deeper point of it. So as you can see, I planted those in, and I've then capped that with the pond soil. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to plant the Bacopa. I'm basically putting that in the area where the aqua soil that's underneath the pond gravel. Basically just to attempt to stop that from falling down if the fish do disturb anything. And then I put a carpet of the Hydrocotyle at the front. So that should hopefully plant out all the way at the front of that and create a nice little sort of green meadow of Hydrocotyle, which would be really nice. So this is the pipe that I'm going to be using for the little solar pump that I've got in there. I've actually sort of put the wood round, bent it round, and then I've sort of attached it in this sort of little notch that is in the just naturally occurring in the wood basically. I haven't cut it off yet just because I wanted to show you how it looks at the moment. But yeah, what I'm going to do in a minute is I'm going to chop that off, and I'll fill the pond up and we'll see what it looks like once it's all full of water. you can see, I filled up the pond and it's a little bit murky, but that'll all settle down. It's probably my fault for not rinsing any of the gravel, but it will all settle down. So what I'm doing now is I'm just testing the flow of the pump, just to make sure it's not too powerful, but as my thoughts, I didn't think it would be. So that is a perfect flow. I'm just going to have that on a 100% flow all the time. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to chop the clear pipe as close as I possibly can to the wood. Try and conceal it the best I can, but, you know, for the time being, if I can see it a little bit, I'm not going to be that bothered, because as the plants grow in throughout the summer, they'll conceal it anyway. So as you can see, I'm just going to chop it here, and then what I'll do is I'll just push that a little bit back from where it is now. It's just for testing, but where I've positioned it now is literally you can't see it from this angle at all, and it just trickles down the wood. So I really like where it is now. But yeah, this is just a little bit too forward at the moment, so I do push that back, as you see. In a second it'll go back even further than that. I had a bit of play around with it when the cameras weren't running, but it'll go back as further than what it is right now. It's from the angle that you see here, you can't see the pipe at all, but you know, as I say, once the plants grow in, it'll look really effective. But yeah, I'm really liking the trickles so far. You know, this is a really nice little cascade, and that'll you know, dampen the wood. I'm tempted to put some moss from around the garden on the wood, but let me know what you think. And here is the water chestnuts. What I'm thinking here is I'm just going to wedge this in this like sort of little outcrop of branch. I think that'll look quite effective. But yeah, let me know what you think on the moss front. Do you think I should put some moss all over the wood, or do you think I should leave it to naturally occur, or shall I just leave the wood as a nice little centre point? I mean, obviously once the plants grow in, they'll be quite bushy around it, so I'm thinking maybe just leave it as it is, and it'll sort of, like, you know, break up the contrast between the bright greens of the plants. Who knows? But you know, I want to know your thoughts on that, so drop that down in the comments below. But I'll leave you with some cinematics of the final build. So it's literally the next day, and as you can see, the water is crystal clear in the pond, so that is brilliant. And I've been out today to basically go and buy some live Daphnia. Now, if you didn't know, live Daphnia, like what live Daphnia does in nature ponds. It basically eats algae that causes your water to go like pea soup green. So if that starts forming, these little guys will get on it. I've got quite a few bags, but another great thing is Daphnia over the course of its time, it breeds every 8 days, and they have around about 30 young each. So they'll also be providing a service of eating the algae, but also as a food source for the fish once they go in there, as well as obviously all the other flies and things that will be laying their eggs and things in here. And it's essentially going to be a very minimalistic approach to the pond. Now the downside is, yes, I've already picked the species out because with them being temperate aquarium fish, it's there's not many available in terms of species here in the UK, especially from North America. So the species of fish that will be going in the pond are green swordtails. And granted, if you do look them up, naturally they come from Mexico. However, there are feral populations pretty much everywhere in the world, maybe borrowing like Africa and obviously Europe, but mainly in Asia, but also North America, in Florida and places. There are feral populations from where people have released them into the wild. I'll be using American flagfish in here as well. A really nice little sort of they're a killifish, but they also eat string algae. And the main sort of centerpiece fish will be rainbow shiners, which are a really attractive fish, sort of becoming quite popular now here in the UK. And they're a really attractive fish. Males get really nice bright blue colorations when they're in the breeding season, which is sort of like at the height of summer. And the females are sort of really nice, just red colour. But I know normally I ask in the comments what fish would you like to see, but obviously I've already picked them. But what I would like to know is, if you were to do the pond and stock it with fish, what would you put in it yourself personally? So drop that down in the comments below. But yeah, we're coming towards the end of the video, so I hope you've enjoyed it. And as you can see here, it takes a couple of attempts, but Alfie's had a little operation. He's basically had a cyst removed from his eye and on his back, so he's not feeling too great. So if you're not leave a like for the video, leave a like for him. I'll catch you in the next video, guys.